everybody. The views expressed in this podcast are of the presenters and the presenters only and do not represent the views, opinions, or strategies of the United States Postal Service or the National Rural Letter Carriers Association.
Welcome back, everybody. Episode 100. We made it to the big 100. How was your week, James?
Oh, it was all right. I mean, considering it was pre-Thanksgiving, and then I had the week Thanksgiving through the rest of the week off, so it was really nice. I had to take my X day for working my Saturday 2 weeks ago, so I took it on Friday. So I had a 3-day, 4-day weekend now because of the holiday and everything. Thanksgiving went really well, and planning for this episode, I had to get a stand for my cell phone so I could do the video on here, get everything set up right for that, and then prepare for this while running my new page for running for the national president. So that's been put up and spread around a lot. People are seeing posts everywhere. So I appreciate you guys supporting me in that and everybody that's followed me so far. Shameless plug. It's James Brennan for NRLCA president. Feel free to go follow the page, give it a like, share it wherever you feel your friends will see it that are part of the Rural Craft. And yeah, ready for a heavy week. According to my sub, Friday and Saturday were terrible. I ran into him on Saturday as I was driving down one of the roads that I deliver on, and he was going on there, and I'm like, yeah, he won't be done until like 6:30. So I felt kind of bad for him on a Saturday to be out there till 6:30. But hopefully next week it'll be nicer. But we got Black Friday and Cyber Monday stuff starting to roll in. So wish us all luck. How about you, Bill? How was your not to do list week?
I never got around to doing anything on my not to do list. Uh, I was blessed with my wife getting off early on Wednesday, which helped because of the fact that we had everybody over here on Thursday. And Thursday actually got up at 6 a.m. to start for everybody's arrivals. You know, table settings and everything else, setting out an extra table for food so that they weren't crammed in the kitchen trying to get it. And it went nicely. Everybody, like I said, had a good time. I posted up our family picture there. We got everybody in one shot. That was good. And it was just wonderful spending time with them. And then my wife was lucky enough to have Friday off and Saturday. And today we had our grandson's third birthday for the third time. Oh, wow, imagine that. Third birthday on the third time. That was amazing that we worked it out so well. And again, it's nice having the family and all, but not as good as having the Eagles win over Baltimore in Baltimore. This past week, though, our SDNC has run into problems processing pallets of parcels being left in the parking lot by the Amazon truck, on the dock by the Amazon truck, and not getting worked until Saturday and Sunday. So today, whereas the past they've been only doing 50 to 70 parcels per run for Amazon Sunday, they were with 210 average per route, and there's 5 routes that they had to do today. So it's getting busy, folks. God bless you all, especially in this dark and the cold and wherever you people have winter weather already. How about yourself, Kristen?
Oh, it was a week. To put it mildly. Tuesday, was it? Monday. It was Monday or Tuesday. I don't remember. Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, it had been Tuesday because I had the stupid mailer and I blew a radiator hose. So the one that goes from the thermostat down and around within the first hour of my route. So I called the office and I said, I am spewing antifreeze all over. I'm on my way back. She said, just take it straight to the shop because we have a local contractor. I said, please call them ahead of time. Needless to say, by the time I got to the few miles away where it was from where I started at, they saw me coming down the road. The billow of smoke around me coming in through the dashboard on the inside. didn't have the part in stock. Nobody locally had the part in stock, but they temporarily fixed it and had called VMF and had the correct hose sent up, and that'll go in Tuesday to get switched out, I guess. So yeah, that was a fun day. Wednesday was, so I only did half of my box holder just because of the time and spending a 45 minutes setting up at the shop to continue on my route. Walk in Tuesday night and there's a WSS for Wednesday. So Wednesday was a WSS and the rest of the box holder. And then Thursday obviously was family time, and Wednesday when I was out on the route, stopped, talked to my customer who's putting in for a hardship and discovered that she was going to be home by herself Thursday. So I told her I would bring her some Thanksgiving dinner. And I did. As soon as that stuff was coming out of the oven, I was putting together platters for her and dishes, and I looked at the other half, said, I'm going to borrow your truck, because Ruby had little man over at baby daddy's side of the family and was doing all that stuff. And I said, I'll be right back. So I brought her Thanksgiving dinner, still hot. And came home and then ate. So it was just Eric and I home on Thursday. And then Friday royally sucked, but that's pretty normal for the day after Thanksgiving. And
Amen.
then I had to work my K-Day yesterday, which wasn't quite so bad, except for we had another WSS come in. So yeah, that was pretty much my week.
I'm sure all the carriers that have to pay money back are encouraged by getting all the WSSs, right now.
Right?
A
Yeah.
lot of good that'll do them in the next 49 weeks,
Oh,
48.
yeah, because from the sounds of it, their evaluations from prior to the mini mail survey went back into effect yesterday.
Yep.
And
Can't help but notice how many comments have been posted about that MOU. A little over a gazillion.
oh yeah, I've talked to several carriers that it's looking to affect adversely, and some that just don't know. And I do know of one carrier who was cut to a 45 and remained a 45, so they got pretty lucky.
Yeah,
But
and there are some that got cut to the 43 this pay period.
yeah,
This next pay period. So it's a disaster overall, but we're here to celebrate our 100 episodes of the United We Scam podcast. Now, Kristen and Bill are the OGs of this podcast. They've been here since the beginning. So let's give them a little bit of a round of applause for making it 100 episodes together.
That's not hard. She's a good work wife.
I try my best.
I joined in later on, and people have come and gone from this podcast, and we appreciate the service that they provided to this podcast through the episodes. But Bill and Kristen, these two people had a vision to create a space where rural carriers could get information and questions answered so they know what's going on in the rural craft, because there was a desperate need for that. And getting to 100 episodes is the very pinnacle of starting with a podcast these days. But they've made the first milestone, 100 episodes. So good job, guys. Let's keep it going.
And the applause is mostly for Kristen, because Kristen was involved in the last podcast that we were in and saw a need to go into a different direction as far as not only being entertaining, but informational and constructive and supportive. And that was her site, was that, we could be of benefit to the rural carriers instead of being the negative, Nancy all the time, downplaying the mismanagement of the post office and the leadership of our union board or anything else. She wanted to provide an avenue for people to learn, And I was glad to jump on board and say, yay. I mean, she's the captain and I'm the first mate.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we have had to pay some penances for doing this, but we're
It's
still
been worth it.
here. We're
Yeah.
still here. Yeah, I would say it has been worth it in ways, definitely, definitely.
I
It's
mean, I'd do it all again.
thank you. That was
You,
the main goal, was educating and getting people to realize the importance of being active, not just, oh, I pay my dues and that's all I do. If you're
Get
one of
involved.
those that, yes, being involved, even if I understand not everybody can make meetings, there's many factors of why people can't get in to a meeting, whether it's distance. For some childcare, Ruby's gone to a meeting with me. You can make it work. I've been active nearly since day one. I hired in, today's the 1st. So my 10-year anniversary is in 12 days. I hired in December, and I went to my first local meeting, which was our annual meeting in April, and I was elected to the local board at that very meeting, 4 months in. I went to my first booster in the fall of 2015, my first state convention in the summer of 2016, and my first national convention was 2018, and as well as my first mid-states was 2018 as well. So yeah, I mean, it's possible. I've made it work, and all that time, for nearly 10 years, with the exception of the last few years, but technically and all around, as a single parent. And I know you can make it work if you really, really want to. That's, in 10 years, going on 10 years, from when I first started going to boosters. So, we're looking at 9 years now going to boosters. I've missed 2 since I've started to go. Only 2. I have not missed a state convention since I started going, and I have not missed a national convention since I started going. And I have only been a delegate 2 times to national convention. The rest of the time, I was an unpaid alternate delegate and went on my own accord. I've paid my own accord for mid-states. You find a way to make it work, and that's what I've done, because it is important to me. And that's what I like to see. Even if the most you can do is go to a local meeting, or try and go to a booster, or if a regional conference is somewhat locally to you, trying to get to that, because I understand finances, childcare, work demands. It's not always possible, but when there is a will, there is a way. And that was my main goal, is like, say, guys, this is a will, there's a way. And that's what I say, even if the smallest thing you can do is, not throw a ballot away when you get it, whether it's for national delegates or a tentative agreement, especially a tentative agreement in your national delegates. When you only have 15 to 20% voting, that's it. I mean, most when 75, 80% of the people, or more, 85, 90%, are just throwing them away, don't even realize what they are. I mean, that's the smallest thing that you can do as an active member to use your voice, is voting on a ballot. But yeah, and educating yourself, and helping people discover where the information comes from and how to find the information. That has always been my biggest thing. I mean, you see it all the time, people asking this and that. Yeah, somebody say, where can I find this, or what does the language say? It's easy to post a screenshot up there or send somebody a screenshot, but at the same time, you got to tell them it's in the contract, it's article blah blah blah, here's the language. But you still have to educate yourself as well. And I think that's what we need as a craft, for many people is to take those, even if it becomes your bathroom reading material, but educate yourself so you know when it's time to stand up that you are knowing exactly what you're standing up for.
And you're right. It starts with your local meetings, and then you get that kind of taste in your mouth saying, well, I want to learn more. And then you start attending the boosters, and then you go on to your state conventions. And like yourself, you've gone to several national conventions on your own dime.
Mhm.
And if a single mom can do that, then the rest of you people who are married ought to be able to do that, because at least you have somebody back home supporting, the family structure while you're attending these conventions. And it's important because of the fact that you learn so much. You see the in and outs of the procedures. You see the little nuances of the political party trafficking that go on. You watch the little cliques who turn around and pull off to the side to have their discussions. You get the full feel of how these people's minds work in regards to promoting their own agendas. And the same thing for you. You can get in there and start talking up your agenda, your topics of interest. But if you don't participate, you don't have much of a voice. I mean, it's nice to say I'm a union member, but if you're not actively engaged, it's like making charitable donations because you're a millionaire and you want to be able to say, oh, I did something nice for the homeless people. No, you're just paying your dues to be a union member. Get involved. Have a voice. Speak up. Stand out. I mean, it's funny because when I go to national conventions and you go to registration, you usually have 3 or 4 booths manned by individuals, and you go to whatever booth alphabetically you're assigned to. And I walk in there, and as soon as they see me, they go, "Over here, Bill." I don't even have to present my name or ID. They know who the hell I am because of the fact that I go up, I stand out, and I speak up. You might not like my message, but you recognize the asshole in front of you, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah, I got involved because I wanted to make a difference, and it started out with having problems in my own office and having to file grievances, and that's when I got asked, "Hey, we have an open position for the local steward in your office. Maybe you should attend some meetings and become the steward and things like that." And I went to my first local meeting, and at my very first local meeting, they went, "Do you want to go to Mid States?" And they said, "We'll pay you to go to Mid States." I'm like, "Where's it at?" "Council Bluffs, Iowa." Okay. So I drove all the way out to Council Bluffs, Iowa, ended up meeting Kristen for the first time there. She introduced me to the first podcast, and I listened to it, and I felt like it was not something I could actually listen to due to issues that were going on inside the episode. So I told her I'm not interested in that, and if something changes, let me know. Later on, she decided to start this podcast and approached me saying, "Hey, we started this new podcast." And I said, "Well, let me listen to a few episodes and I'll let you know." Listened to a few episodes and said, "Hey, if you need somebody, let me know." Ended up getting on, what was it, episode 12 or 13, something like that, Kristen?
Um,
Um,
yeah,
I
going
can't remember.
back, yeah, it was back in there, yeah.
Yeah, way back in the beginning there. And then getting involved and then the aftermath and stepping up and actually speaking our minds fully on something like that, and finally finding our groove together as a group. And it has been a whirlwind episodes set for us, but again, it all goes back to Kristen. She's the one who started it. She's the one who encouraged people to participate, get people involved, started the podcast page, the podcast group, everything involved with that. She's been a really, really good um, leader of everything. She won't call herself a leader, but she has led this podcast all the way through. and held us
Yeah.
together in a lot of ways. You know, even when we've had issues amongst, had disagreements and things like that, she's came through and made sure that everybody got onto the same page before we got onto an episode. So, if anything, this 100 episodes is a tribute to Kristen herself.
Thanks,
Amen.
guys. I appreciate it. This has been an interesting couple of years, to say the least. I mean, we've had many good people on here. We've, you know, sad to see some of them go, but we completely understand their reasonings, and we
I
fully
don't.
support them. Oh, don't even start. It's been a whirlwind, to say the least. Definitely.
Well, I can say I don't because of who I am. Most people can't stand up to the bullshit that I attract. But yes, people have withdrawn for their own reasons, and we agree with them and we respect their decisions. I mean, we don't agree among ourselves all the time, but that's part of the discussion is that not everybody can agree all the time, but we can respect each other's opinion, whether James is wrong or not. But the fact of the matter is that you have that right to voice your opinion.
Oh,
Thank you,
absolutely.
Malcolm.
We just get to the point to where, we agree to disagree on stuff. I mean, we're all
Hmm.
different people, and, sometimes things go out of control, and it happens, and we reel it back in.
The hell
And
you looking at me for?
I wasn't looking at you.
She was looking at me. She was looking at me, remember?
Oh,
I've been talked to by several people about you, James, so, I try to do what I
Oh, I
can.
know.
But,
I
like,
know.
hey, he's his
I,
own person, and I am not his mama.
I hear it from all over the place too. You know, people just like Bill. Everybody has their own
yep,
opinions.
Yes, they
yep.
do.
With this recent MOU, I mean, I don't know how many times I've counted, that people who don't agree with me, agree that I'm 100% right. There's not a carrier in this craft that should be paying one penny back to the post office.
Yep, I agree.
I
Especially
agree.
on the cusp of Christmas time
Hmm.
and insurance rates going up at the first of the year. And we have no tentative agreement, so we don't know what's going to happen, when it comes to COLAs and general wage increases to hopefully offset some of the other stuff. We have no clue. It is disheartening to have to see carriers pay back money, regardless if it's only 3 pay periods or more or less. Even a penny is too much, in all honesty.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, but we are going to cover a topic tonight, only
Oh,
because the impending is coming up. Starting Saturday the 7th is Christmas overtime till the 27th. So we actually get through Christmas this year with the Christmas overtime. So yeah, I'm just going to start off because I've seen people talk about it with Christmas overtime coming up. RCA's designation 78 and 74. Nothing changes for you. Your pay stays the same. You work over 40, you go into straight time plus overtime. You work under 40, you're getting your evaluation. The only ones that change for RCAs are designation 79s, those with a hold down on an auxiliary route. Your auxiliary route will go hourly. And it's only the designation 79s.
What about
So,
the 69s?
well, I don't think we cover that one in here. So we're not going
Oh,
to talk about that one.
I'm sorry, wrong channel.
We don't have an OF or a Patreon, so we're not going to discuss that one. As for regular carriers, and this will be my second Christmas overtime as a regular carrier. Hey, there's Ruby.
Hi, Ruby.
Hi.
Where's the baby?
What?
In the dryer?
Baby in the dryer.
Oh, it's warm.
He's sleeping. She's going to put her headset back on, and she's going to talk into my mic and listen on her headset. So that way we don't have reverb from me talking and coming through both mics. But yeah, so designation 71, regular rail carrier. Woohoo! Oh yeah, I should also include that PTFs are included in that with the RCAs. Christmas holidays and the free Saturday provision. A little bit of examples here. They did change the DACA codes, which is nice to know. We don't have to worry about the free Saturday. Okay, because the free Saturdays fall for J routes and H routes. So that's, if you take a full week of leave, you get a free Saturday. Not charged leave for it.
And please
All right.
fill out your leave slip correctly.
Yes.
People have assumed since they get their free Saturdays, they don't have to include them on your leave slip. You must to get that Saturday off.
All right. So the effect of LWOP and Christmas overtime compensation. Any use of LWOP during the Christmas period can be detrimental to the calculation of your Christmas overtime. Because of this, use of LWOP, even for union business, should be discouraged during the Christmas period. In the calculation of weekly hours, the LWOP days are counted as 0 hours worked, but the day is still included in the calculation. Example, 40K route, carrier we're out 4 days and takes 1 day LWOP. Total work hours for the 4 days are 40. No overtime will be paid because the carrier did not exceed the weekly evaluation. Total compensation will be 4 days times the daily evaluated rate. Second example, 40K route, carrier works 4 days, takes 1 day LWOP. Total work hours for the days are 42. 2 hours of overtime will be paid because the carrier exceeded the weekly evaluation. Total compensation will be 4 days at the total evaluated rate plus 2 hours at the overtime rate. So don't take LWOP if you don't have to during the Christmas overtime period because that gives you a 0 for the day. However, if you take sick leave or annual leave or an X day, those hours count towards your calculation of hours worked for 8 hours. Effective working over evaluation on your relief day. All hours worked over evaluation on relief day are included in the weekly overtime calculation. For a Code 5, all work hours are included in the actual weekly hours, and then 1 day of evaluation, already paid at the OT rate, is subtracted in the calculation. If the carrier takes Code 3 or R and is given an X day the same week, then all hours worked are just included in the calculation. For example, 40K route, carrier works 10 hours on relief day. Carrier works all 6 days of the week with a total of 55 hours, including the 10 worked on relief day. 55 hours, 8 hours, 1 day evaluation minus the 8 hours equals 47 hours work. Carrier will be paid 7 hours of overtime in addition to 5 days at the daily evaluated rate, plus the relief day at 1.5 times the daily evaluated rate. 40, and here's another example. Carrier works 10 hours on relief day and is given an X day later in the week. Total work hours, including relief day, are 46. Carrier will be paid 6 hours at overtime rate in addition to 5 days at the daily evaluated rate. Second trips are not compensable during Christmas period, even on relief day. If you're in a POV route, you will be paid the additional EMA mileage over 40 for the day, obviously, for second trips. but your second trip time is included in your work time and is not paid additional for the 3 weeks of Christmas overtime.
And that's bullshit. You ought to be paid for every freaking mile, not 40 miles. That is such
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah. Effective hours worked under the MOU allowing regular carriers to volunteer to assist on other routes or deliver parcels on Sundays. All of these hours are entered in the daily overtime box and also included in the actual weekly hours. These hours have no effect on Christmas overtime. These hours are subtracted from the total actual work hours because they have already been paid at the overtime rate. For example, going back to that 40K route, carrier works all 5 days, a total of 45 hours on their own route. Carrier also assists on other routes, a total of 4 hours. Carrier will be compensated 5 days at the evaluated rate plus 9 hours at the overtime rate. 5 hours worked over evaluation plus the 4 hours assisting on other routes. And another example going the other way, 40K route, carrier works all 5 days, a total of 39 hours on their own route. Carrier also assists on other routes, a total of 4 hours. Carrier will be compensated 5 days at the evaluated rate plus 4 hours at the overtime rate. So any of your overtime for assisting or working on Sundays is already counted as overtime and won't be included in the evaluation overtime. However, it is included in the actual weekly hours. Confusing as they want to make it. Effect of working under evaluated hours on relief day. This can have effect on Christmas overtime calculation. For example, going back to that 40K route, carriers work all 6 days. On the relief day, code 5, they work only 6 hours. The other 5 days, they work 9 hours per day for a total of 45. They would be paid 1 day evaluation at OT rate for the relief day, plus 40 hours normal evaluated time, plus 3 hours of Christmas overtime. 51 total hours minus the 8 hours already paid at OT. Minus 40 hours weekly evaluation equals 3 hours of Christmas overtime. So anything that you're working already in OT is OT time, basically. And it is your evaluated hours, not your standard hours. So in my instance, I have to work over 46 hours for the week in order to get into the overtime status, not including my relief day.
Now,
And that
This is where they kind of tend to wait until towards the end of the week to see where the carriers are at before they start calling in the RCAs and whacking time off of you for that day because they want to hold you to your evaluation.
now, if I have a 48K route, but it's evaluated at 67 hours, do I have to work 67 hours to get my overtime? Or are
No,
they just going to pay me? They're going to pay me
48.
the extra 10.
48.
48.
I want the overtime. I want the 67 hours.
Well, if you work that long, you'll get that at 65 hours too. If you're working over 65 hours, you get the FLSA standards for hours.
But James, they want to take money off of other carriers. Why can't they give it to me?
Because the standard for FLSA is 12 hours in a day or 56 hours in a week. So anything over 48, you get paid for in Christmas overtime. And if it's over 56 hours worked on your regular route or overall, then you go into the FLSA overtime that Director of Labor Relations at the time, Bridget Boziak, negotiated with management.
It sucks.
Well, the 56 hours actually helps a lot of people, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a good one brought up.
Under-evaluated.
What if you're a 39H or a 42J? This has been asked numerous times with coming up, and well, you got to go over 39 hours in 6 days for the H route, and for the J route, it depends on what week you're on. It's either going to be 42 hours in the 6 days or 42 hours in the 5 days. It can get confusing. I agree. It's and I get where people are, but remember, it is your evaluated hours and not your standard hours that you have to go over.
It is the post office.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because your
Yeah.
standard hours include all 6 days of delivery, not your 5 days. If you're a K route, your 5 days. It's all 6 days is your standard hours.
And one other thing that I wanted to bring up about Christmas time, and this has been brought up every year in the national magazine now. If you're required to be out on your route after 8 p.m., notify your district representative. This is direct from the Director of Labor Relations, John Adams, this year. It was the Director of Labor Relations, Shirley Baffa, last year that also put this out because it's basically a cut and paste of last year's article as well. So if you are out past 8, you should not be. It's dangerous already being out there in the dark. Being out there past 8, especially in this day and age, people carry. Carriers have had guns drawn on them as they're walking up to houses in the middle of the dark trying to deliver a package after 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. So be safe out there. And if it's not right and it's an unsafe condition, file your PS Form 1767. Explain that it's unsafe, that not only can you not see any hazards like trip and slip and fall hazards, but you can't see any dogs. You can't see if the homeowner is coming out with a gun or anything like that in the dark. So be safe out there. And if they're not willing to resolve the issue, file a grievance. What do we do, Bill?
File, and smile.
You
And
know,
don't forget Christmas lights too. All the damn electrical cords stretch across sidewalks, and I mean, that's a big hazard there. You don't see them because the lights are usually away from the house, out in the middle of the yard, and bang, you're on your ass.
Yep. Or the ones that have those inflatable lawn things, and it's after dark, and they decided to deflate them. Yeah, you got to look out for those in the yards too. Those are never fun to find when you're walking across the yard. I try not to walk across yards in general myself, but there's a few houses I have to. So
yeah, there's always the exception, and that's the one that'll catch you.
And then there's the offices that management is prioritizing parcels over mail because the barcode's more important than first class mail, and wants you to do your second trip in the morning. It's called a second trip for a reason. It's meant to be done after your route. In the morning, you should have parcel assistance with the RCAs, especially in offices that are all LLVs or government vehicles, may have FFVs, Metrises, or some SNDCs may already start getting the NGDV. But second trips should be after the route is completed. And this holds true even with mail delivery. I talked with a carrier who said that they were being told by their manager to come back after half their route to refill their truck to go back out for the second half. Split the route in half and come back and reload during your route. That's not right. It messes up the breadcrumbs of your route. Now, it's great for you because if you do that for 30 days, guess what? Rex is going to see that as a normal stop for you, add the mileage into your route, and boost your evaluation. But it's not right because you're not following the line of travel that you're supposed to by the PO 603.
and I get it's if you have a route, and I'm going to say mine for example, because I do pass the post office going from the north end of my route to the south end of my route. And there have been times, especially during the Christmas time, I am guilty of it. I was guilty of it Friday too. But if I have an overload of stuff, and last Christmas, because I didn't have an RCA and we really didn't have anybody to help with parcels anyways. But I have stopped where I had extremely large stuff for the very first hour of my route, the north end. And as I'm passing the office, I'll pull in real quick and grab what I couldn't fit in for the rest of it. And then when I go to my back half, I'm less than a mile from the office. And yes, Friday I did stop to pick up a few items. I did have parcel assistance on Friday from a brand new RCA. Unfortunately, not Ruby. We're still waiting on the background check stuff. But I did hand over, but I had some stuff knowing that they were using their POV to deliver in. I had 3 extremely large boxes that I wasn't going to do that to them their first time doing anything. And so I stopped at the halfway point and just reloaded real quick and went out. I mean, yes, should I be doing that? Probably not. But I am close enough to the office for me. It's almost easier because a lot of times by the time I get back, I don't want to go back out. But there are times where I say, nope, that's my second trip. I'm going to finish my route. I'm going to come back, reload, and run my second trip. So in general, yes. As opposed to the 6 to 9 plays, they should not be requiring regular carriers to be doing that. If they are, if you go under the F21 time and attendance, that is not a second trip. That would be paying them straight time to do the 6 to 9 plays. This is where the RCAs, leave replacements, and even ARCs at Christmas time, if there's an MOU for that. I don't think there is this year. Anyways, leave replacements are the ones that should be coming in from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. to be running parcels. Do I agree with running parcels in the dark at 6 a.m.? No, but we've all done it, and it happens. Oh, and the HARCs. Yes, the annuitants that come in to deliver parcels.
Oh, I can do
But,
that.
yeah.
No.
Now on that, Kristen, I'm gonna just say this to the people that are doing something like Kristen just explained and going back to the office to reload in the middle of their route. When you get back to the office, go on your scanner. In the upper right hand corner, hit the 3 lines on the top right corner there and select see all Rex scans.
I don't have to.
Because then you go down, and as soon as you park that vehicle, hit start load vehicle, because loading time is straight time, and so is end of shift duties. So if you are taking your supplies into the office to empty your truck, to reload your truck with your second trip stuff, make sure you're doing it on load time.
Yes,
That
but I did not have to go to the hamburger menu to find the start load. It was under the Rex menu because I did it Friday. As soon as I got in, parked that truck, shut it off, I hit start load. I had to scroll down, but its start load was on there.
oh, they must have changed that recently. I haven't seen that on mine.
Yeah, it's on there because I purposely looked
But
for it and did not have to go to the hamburger menu for it.
if it's not there, that's where you would find it then.
Yes.
But I
But
wanted
yeah,
to throw that
you
out
as
there
soon as
just in case.
you shut that truck off, you hit that start load, you go in, you get your packages, you load, and I don't hit end load until I'm ready to start the truck and head back out,
Exactly.
even if I had to use the potty. But it's yeah. So
No,
if you
no shit.
yeah, exactly. So now, if you do stop, like I said, I pass the office from one section to another, and then when I'm going to my last section, it's literally not even a mile to the office that I'm offset on. So for somebody like me whose route is closer to the office, it's easier for me to do that than to finish off. But trust me, there are days when if you don't hit depart to route, you shouldn't have to use the hamburger menu to find start load. I hit depart to route and it comes back. It's the start load's still under the main menu.
It wasn't there before for me. That's why I was
Oh,
making the
okay.
statement. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to put it out there for those that don't have it on there. They can use that to actually find it.
And not all scanners are up to date either.
Somebody
Yes.
received an email stating we hit return to unit. PM casing start load and end load is wrong for second load. No, you're
No.
building in the past before the RX, in the past, when you did second trips, you got paid your load time as well as your 3 minutes per mile, or 2 minutes per mile back then. But plus your second trip pay. Now the start load. Now you're supposed to hit start load, and it's built into your evaluation, and then you're just paid the second trip pay. So I don't know who's sending that out, because start load and end load is correct for second trips.
But I think they're saying that you have to hit PM casing to shut off your first,
Yes,
route,
after your
and
end of shift
then
duties.
yeah,
Yep.
and then you do your start load then.
Yeah. And
Right.
you know what? And they should just change that from PM casing to second trip. In all honesty. I mean, you're gonna do your to do a normal second trip, you're gonna come back, you're gonna do your end of shift duties, you're gonna hit PM casing to stop the clock on the end of shift, and then you're gonna hit your start load to go load your second trip, your end load, and then you're gonna leave and come back. And then when you're done with everything for the day is when you hit clock out. So yeah.
Well, Meow's got PM casing / second trip, and it does cause confusion.
Mhm.
But if you did that, somehow some manager would turn around and say, "Oh, second trip," and during the overtime period would be giving you the 3 minutes a mile instead of your overtime pay.
Yep.
Guaranteed, some dumbass out there would do that.
Yes, they would. Yep. That's yeah. Return to unit after returning office. Find out you got to help someone. You hit the PM casing. You switch to the other route. You go find that carrier in the sticks. You hit start load vehicle, end load, and then start the help. That is correct.
Yep.
Exactly. And this goes for RCAs too. If you're running a route, do the
Yes.
same thing.
And RCAs are paid second trip pay during Christmas overtime if that second trip is on the full route that they are running that day. They are paid second trip time. Leave replacements in general. Let's say leave replacements. I haven't personally worked in an office with PTF, so I'm sorry, I keep forgetting about them. But leave replacements are paid second trips during the Christmas overtime season. And if you are helping other routes as a leave replacement, if you are doing parcel delivery during the week as a leave replacement for other routes, please change the route for each of the routes that you are helping. So if you're taking parcels for 2 or 3 different routes and you start on route 2, you're logged in on the scanner on route 2, you finish up the parcels for route 2, you're going to go do route 3, you go to option 6 on the main menu, hit change route number, put in route 3, and then you do it again for the next route as well. Please change the route numbers in the scanners. It's option 6. It's not difficult to do. And regulars, if you are volunteering to assist when you are done with other routes, please change the route in the scanner. Option 6 on the main menu. So yes.
Now, this was posted in our group. Now the postmaster told everyone they could come in 30 minutes early, but not clock in.
Nope.
Nope.
You want me
I did
coming
not.
in 30 minutes early? I'm clocking in 30 minutes early.
Well, I'll be in 30 minutes early. I'll just be sitting on my stool waiting to clock in until my time is to clock in. Because I do not work off the clock. Carriers should not work off the clock. We've already had enough damage done to our evaluations because the carrier's working off the clock. That's a practice we need to put an end to.
And if
You are
you're
only hurting the craft.
And if you're being instructed to come in 30 minutes early and not clock in and they expect you to work, I would ask that in writing and file a grievance.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are being given a direct order to work off the clock. No working off the clock ever. I know when I came in, On Friday, they changed our start time from 7:30 to 7 for the day after the holiday. I walked in at 6:58. I waited. I grabbed my scanner, my keys, went to my case, and I waited till it said 7 o'clock. I hit clock in, and then I went and got my mail. I already had Carrier in the office, already working, prior to me even walking in the door.
Well, like some
Whether or
people
not
have
they
said
were
on,
clocked in or not, I don't know, but you never work off the clock. Plain and simple.
like
They
some
want you
people
to.
have said on several platforms of Facebook about, well, just mind your own business. Well, that is your business because you're getting cheated on the evaluations for the route if you're an RCA or a PTF. You're getting cheated because now the arbitrators and our engineers will turn around and change our evaluations in regards to how we handle the mail because we're doing it faster than even they thought we could. So stop robbing yourself. You know, this is your pay. This is your money. It is illegal to work off the clock. Plain and simple. Illegal.
Yep, falsifying your time never helps. Working off the clock definitely does not help anybody's standards. And also, if something was to happen and you're off the clock, so, a clerk sets a tub of flats in a place that's not usually there, and you're not looking, you're just walking, and you trip and you fall and you hurt yourself, you smack your head on the concrete floor, you break an ankle, an arm, whatever. OWCP is not going to cover you because guess what? You're not on the clock. You're not supposed to be working.
And if you don't have it in writing, you can't prove that you were authorized to be there.
Exactly. So anytime you get a questionable directive like come in 30 minutes early, but you can't clock in, tell them you want that in writing. And then you
Mhm.
tell them, sure, I'll be happy to come in 30 minutes early, but I'm clocking in. And here's my grievance.
You mean check my shoes? I'm wearing Hey Dudes, you know? They're not
Mhm.
they're not okay.
Yeah, we got one that wears them.
Oh, we used to have a guy used to come in with his Crocs with the heels all bent down, so his heels were exposed. They sent him home a number of times.
Yeah, not that great. But yeah, Christmas overtime is starting on Saturday. For some reason, I had a supervisor that thought we started yesterday. Carrier working a relief day and having to take a second trip. And she was like, "Oh no, you don't get paid." And I'm like on the route, and my phone rings, and I look at my watch to see who it was, and it's supervisor. So I'm stopped at a box in a parking lot. So I answer it, and I had to explain to her, "No, the city's no penalty started today. We don't start until next Saturday, December 7th." She's like, "Oh." After our local steward had already tried to explain that to her, he then told her, "Call me and ask me."
God, can't make this shit up.
No, you
Can't.
cannot.
Hey
Well,
James,
that's the other
James,
side of this is the fact that city starts their guaranteed Christmas time before we do.
Hmm.
We're the redheaded
this,
stepchild when it comes to getting paid what we're actually deserved to be paid
And I never
and the work that
understood
we do.
why it starts in the middle of a pay period. Why can't we just have 2 full pay periods?
hello, hello,
2 full weeks, yeah.
2 full
two
pay periods
pay
instead of a
periods.
pay period and
Yeah,
a half. What good
Yeah.
is that, you know?
You
James,
know,
this
I,
is
I,
for you.
I can't see.
So
My
here's a good
camera's
Oh,
off.
question. What do we do
I'll
if
watch it later.
management I got a good here's a good one in the listener chat. What do we do if management asks us to do anything unethical, unsafe, or illegal?
Advise management that is unethical, unsafe, or illegal. And if they continue, tell them we're going to just go ahead and grieve this. Go ahead and write it down. We're going to grieve this and go from there. Yeah, can I have that in writing is the very first thing you say. Can I have that in writing, round dated, and signed? Put your name to it. That way I
Yes.
can verify that those are the exact words that you've used and you want me to follow. That way we don't have a mistake on communication here. I want it in writing. Everything should be in writing if management thinks it's a good idea.
Because you
That's your
cannot.
first clue that it's illegal, unethical, or unsafe, is if
Yeah.
management's asking you to do it.
If management is not willing to put their name behind it, it's not a direct order. Because obviously they don't even believe it's a direct order if they're not willing to put it in writing.
Exactly. And if it's something that is not safe, that you flat out tell them, it's not safe. I don't feel safe doing that. May I have a 1767 to fill out, please?
Yeah, you've
Amen.
been out there all day. You've been out there all day delivering all day, and you come back. It's 7:50 at night, and management goes, "Hey, I need you to go out and deliver these 50 parcels for me." Dude, I'm tired. It's unsafe for me to drive now. I'm worn out. I already delivered 700 packages today. I'm not going to do another 50 more because I'm going to get into a car accident if I do. I'm too tired. Just
Yep.
simple no can work too. No. Why not? I feel unsafe.
Yep. Or it's,
Give 'em a
well,
bill. You can.
RCA's leave replacements are held to 12 hours.
Yes.
Oh,
And that
yeah.
is including a half an hour lunch. So it's literally your work. You're paid 11 and a half hours, but you get 12 hours total with a half hour lunch.
Right.
And regular carriers under the FLSA after 12 hours get paid overtime. So if you are if you are a leave replacement that is being directed to work over 12 hours, get that in writing, and then you can grieve that to get, hopefully, either put a stop to it or get compensated overtime rate above 12 hours.
Oh, at least double time.
Yeah.
I did win a grievance for triple time once. And the postmaster came back. I can't push this through. And I said, if you don't, and you gave me your word you would, if you don't, I said, I'll guarantee you'll never get help again. You asshole. Yes, I am. But you said triple time one time. We won triple time.
Mm-hmm.
And we got it.
Yep. So yeah, lots going on. I know many areas, especially in northern Michigan and southern Michigan, got pounded with snow. My old office in Gaylord, Michigan set a brand new record of snowfall in 24 hours. On Friday, between midnight to 11:59 p.m., they had 24.8 inches of snowfall.
Yeah.
I
Schools are
am
closed tomorrow there.
120 miles from there. I had green grass this afternoon and sunshine. We have had a few little flakes in the air, and that's it.
I'm
I got
watching
more
the
snow
Eagles
down here
game.
than you do.
Yeah,
I'm watching
yeah,
the Eagles game, and there's flurries in Baltimore, and nothing up here.
yeah.
And
We had a little bit of flurries this afternoon. It lasted all of about 20 minutes, and there's nothing left. That was it. They were all going, "See what you did? See what you did?" And I'm like, "No, that was Eric for hanging the 'Let It Snow' sign in the window when he was putting out Christmas decorations." But yeah,
Damn
I
you, Eric.
mean, they already called schools off for tomorrow. In Gaylord, I got that email from my daughter, my youngest, and yeah, 24.8 inches of snow in 24 hours, and it's still coming. It's still been coming down before and after that. They've got a lot. I
as
don't miss
of
it.
7:45 p.m., Copenhagen, New York, 58.8 inches.
Wow.
That is 24 hours. 24 hours of snowfall.
Hmm.
We got some carriers not that tall.
Yeah, that's right about how tall I am, sort of.
About
I have to do my math. You're gonna make me do
3
math.
inches an hour. 3 inches an hour.
4
Wow.
foot 10.
All right, I'm 5'4", so I'm a little. I can breathe above
Yeah.
it. But yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah,
it's just. I mean, some of this weather's crazy. Like I said, I literally have been watching the radar where the bands of snow literally go either north of me or south of me, and we're in the clear. And I'm just like, wow, this is not too
Thank
bad.
you, Jesus.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that cold air coming off the lake has not been fun the last couple of days, and I did put my window protector on my LLV the other day, last week or the week before. I don't remember, but I still got to put my puzzle weights in. So hopefully, I'll have a day where I'm available to do that, either in the morning as I'm waiting for packages to be thrown, or I'll do it on end of shift duties. But yeah, I still gotta get the weights in my back of my truck. Last year it was after the 1st of January before I put them in. But other than that, anything else fun you guys want to talk about? It
not
is
today.
100. We
Yeah.
made it.
No.
100 episodes of the United We Stand podcast.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that we have toiled to this point, and to the benefit of people who've become active in the union, who have become stewards because of us. Because of participation at the national convention, all the support we get. It still rings in my ears. Oh, you're the Bill. Oh, you're the James. Yeah, they hear Kristen and say, "I know you."
I
I had that
recognize
at my
that
local
voice.
booster. I had that at my local at my fall booster.
I
The
get that at
ones
the
that
liquor
hadn't met me
store.
yet. Yeah. I
I
mean,
recognize that voice. Yeah, Kristen,
yeah,
the
yeah.
Grand Rapids. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
But even
Yeah.
just this most recent fall booster, I had a couple people that, wait a minute, I know that voice that hadn't met me yet. But yeah, that was it's always fun to see that.
I'm sorry you can see my face on camera. I scare little kids.
All I see is the reflection of the monitor in my glasses, but I'm
Yeah.
blind without them. So,
Oh,
So,
get a new speaker.
uh
What the hell was
Yeah.
that?
how'd that
Bigfoot!
happen?
Kristen, run! Bigfoot's behind you.
That's just Eric, and he doesn't realize I have the camera on. Say hi, Eric. You're on camera.
Yeah, I just randomly
Oh,
get the invite to come speak with you guys. So I gotta say, you guys have definitely been an inspiration this this last year and beyond. So bowing
thank
down
Thank you.
you.
next to my computer right now.
If anybody, it's kind of funny, Blair just had to. If anybody else wants to hop in and say hi, we'll open it up for anybody at this point. But no, thank you. Yes, that was the whole
And
point of getting behind, was to get people to be like, oh wait, there is information out there. There is a way to be active. There is a way to educate my fellow carriers in my offices. And
there's a place to find out,
hmm,
Hmm.
answers to questions you don't know. Are they a grievance or are they a gripe? Well, if they're a gripe, we'll find a way to turn them into a grievance.
absolutely.
One of the few things that we always have to do is make sure every time a carrier is upset, there is a 95% chance there can be a grievance attached to it. There is that 5% chance that yes, it is a quote unquote gripe. But that is very few and far between, and very few stewards will actually run into that situation. So anybody that is a steward listening to this podcast, if somebody's griping to you, help them out. Find a way to help to guide them towards that grievance that they should be filing. Give them advice. Help them. And if they're
And
not helping you, reach out to us.
and if it sounds like a gripe, or they are griping, try to get to what the root of their actual problem is, because that's where that
Mhm.
grievance may or may not be, is in the actual root of what that issue is. And their gripe is just them not knowing how to put into words what the actual issue is.
Because with every gripe, there's some basis there that
Yes.
they feel they're being unjustly targeted or directed to do things that they don't feel comfortable doing. Could be against the contract, may not be, but at least explore it.
Yes, definitely. Now, I had an idea for a future episode, and I'm going to put this out here for people because I did talk to Eric briefly. Kind of brought it out, and it was actually a spouse of another carrier of doing an episode with carrier significant others and letting them talk about what it's like to live with a rural carrier. And maybe giving some advice to other significant others and maybe breaking down some of the technical terms into the layman's terms, the rural carriers for dummies type thing done by spouses and significant others. I actually mentioned this to Eric the other day and he was all about doing it.
Oh, you think my mouth gets me in trouble? You get my wife
You
on
sure
here.
you want
Oh
Are you
shit!
sure you want Bill's wife on here, Kristen? Are you sure you want that?
I think it would be fun.
I could just see it now. She starts talking
Oh.
about it. Bill goes, "Wait, that's not right," and she slaps him in the back of the head.
Again,
It can be dangerous.
you know.
Hey, there's a voice you don't hear too often anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Oh,
appreciation episode.
episode.
Yeah, let me tell you, our significant others put up with a lot for what we do. Sunday evenings are lonely for my wife because I'm on this. Okay, the work we've done through the course of the years, as stewards, getting ready for these episodes, doing our midweeks. There's a lot of sacrifice by our spouses, and I think that's the episode in a nutshell. That they sacrifice so much for us to be here.
And I think, something after the holiday season, because I know, like, I told Eric Thursday night, I said, well, when I leave in the morning, I'll see you beginning of next year. One of those things, because it is the holiday time. It is going to be dark when we leave to work. It's dark when we come home. It's unfortunately that time of year in general, but then the added parcels and whatnot is just kind of adds to that more time that there is. So
Oh yeah. I mean, my first 3 years at the post office, I would tell my wife things, and she would look at me like I had three eyeballs. By the end of the third year, when I would come home and tell her stuff, she'd go, you can't make this shit up. And I said, I don't have to. It happens every damn day. After 10 years, why are you still in this job? And I said, well, I haven't killed anybody yet. And she goes, I know. And that scares me. A lot of pent up frustration. But, I learned to turn my frustration and anger towards management and directed it towards, my first stint as a steward, to go after them because of the fact that, they treat carriers, especially the subs, so bitterly. It's almost like a new form of slavery that, you can't question or challenge them. You have to do as they say. No, you have rights, and we're here to help you with that. But after 20 years, my wife, she just rolls her eyes and just, yeah, same old shit.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, Eric could probably tell stories of me coming home and just bawling my eyes out for no particular reason because I was still an RCA working 60 hours a week, and the only RCA in the office was 2 Christmases ago. And I was working. That was a rough Christmas. But yeah,
There's no crying at the post office.
no, I didn't cry at work. I waited till I got home.
Well, we've had people cry on the floor, and let me tell you, it makes for an uncomfortable situation.
Oh,
Until
I have
some-
stepped out to go have a cigarette break because I was on the verge a couple times, and yeah, it was rough. It was just you're already exhausted as it is. I remember the one time I was already so exhausted, and I had to run a route that I mean, I knew the route, but not as well as I knew the other ones in the office. And the carrier had just redone the labels, and they have a really, they they never do them properly anyways. There's still missing addresses and everything else on there. But anyways, didn't even realize she had redone the labels, and I had just gotten the case down. Labels are all done. I am over there just doing the new dance of trying to find where the addresses are. I'm already exhausted. I was on the verge of tears, and the work buddy come up. He goes, "You want to go outside?" I looked at him. I'm like, "Yeah, please, let's go." 'Cause I was ready to walk out at that point. I was just, and a lot of that comes from it's just the pure exhaustion as well. I get it. I've been there as the RCA. I know what it's like. I could go on and on about that. Like I said, when I started 10 years ago, going on, I was a fully staffed office. So yeah, I was literally working 1 day a week, and I truly feel the feast or famine because my last year as an RCA, I was working 50, 60 hours a week for 2 years straight. I worked that last Christmas as an RCA. I worked 27 days straight between Thanksgiving and Christmas Day. I had Thanksgiving off, and my next day off was Christmas Day. I know the struggles all around as an RCA in general, and it still weighs with me. And I'm only this is 1 year as of a couple weeks ago as a regular, so it's still pretty fresh in the mind of the RCA life, especially this time of year.
Well, I'll admit that I've cried on a route, but it's usually over a customer losing a dog. You know,
Mhm.
once in a while, a family member. But yeah, I mean, I've grown so close to some of my customers. I still talk to them. I mean,
Oh
two
yeah.
months out, and I still talk to about 9 or 10 of them. And one of my favorite customers called up, before Thanksgiving, to make sure we had a good Thanksgiving and everything. But I'll tell you what, there's nothing worse than seeing your mail carrier and your husband, standing out there hugging and crying over a lost dog.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
because I love animals a lot more than I love most people.
Yeah, me too.
Well, at least
Yes.
animals give you unconditional love.
Well,
People
You give them a
sometimes have
biscuit.
motives behind theirs.
the one I had to pull in for on Friday had 3 packages, and they have a standard poodle. And she was coming out, run to the truck, and she's like, "I'm so sorry." I said, "Oh no, she's fine." And I remember meeting her when I was still a sub, and I said, "Oh no, this one's fine." And I'm just giving her love-ins. And a Great Dane the other day, he was one of the two Great Danes at the house. The one was outside, and he saw me, and he kind of was trying to check on the kids, and I called his name, and he saw me, and he looked back at Mom, and she said, "Go." And I opened up the side door. Next thing I know, I got Great Dane right in my face because he just put his front paws on the first step, and he had to come in and say hi. And I've got my little Chihuahua Yorkie mix that she's like 15, 16 years old that literally knows right about the time every day that I come through and is constantly pacing by the door and waiting. And she actually came all the way down the handicap ramp down to the truck the other day to meet me because she had to see me. So you just scoop
Now
her
that's
out.
that's a spoiled dog if it has its own handicap ramp.
No, well, it's one of my hardships. So, but she did have a ramp to go up the couch when she was injured. So but oh yeah, I love a lot of the doggies on my route. That's definitely.
It's like
But I have
it's
some of
like
my
it's like
customers
the
I love too, though.
people with bulldogs who have steps made up to their pickup truck so they can get in.
Yeah.
If I have one on my route, it's an old golden, and she's my last stop before I leave the neighborhood to go to another neighborhood. And one day she came up to the truck and got pets from me because I pet the dogs. And now every time she sees the truck, she waits and sees if my arm comes out the window to come running up. And the people that own her said, "We've never seen her run like that in a couple years because she's gotten so old, but she's so excited to see you." You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
just
It's
to make the dog's day.
oh yeah,
Mhm.
you know. And my customer that I dropped Thanksgiving dinner off to Thursday afternoon, I stopped and talked to her yesterday, and because she gave me back the dishes and stuff that I had dropped off to her, and just tell me how wonderful it was. She wants one of my recipes for one of the side dishes, and then yeah, she
Yep.
got to tell me, and I kind of fell for her, and I left her house with my phone number written down on the notepad for the sheer fact that I knew she had a doctor's appointment Friday, but I didn't know it was her 90-year-old sister who was driving an hour away to come pick her up and drive her another hour to her doctor's appointment and bring her back
Damn.
home. I said, call me. If you need something, I said, if otherwise, I said, even my daughter, Ruby, and even Ruby agreed. She goes, yeah, I'll drive her up to her doctor's appointments if her sister can't make it. You know, it's just knowing that she's there completely by herself with her little Cocker Spaniel, who is a little older, but she's a sweetheart too. And, you know, as I told her, if you need anything, even something from the grocery store, let me know and I'll bring that to you, you know, after I'm done with the route. You know, you got to take care of your people. And she was taking pictures and texting her son who had just had surgery the day before Thanksgiving, so he couldn't make it up to see mom, and her cousins. And you know, there's three out of the four sisters left, the three ladies out of the four left. And, you know, and she was just so beside herself that I took that time to think about her and bring her a Thanksgiving dinner. And yeah, it's just, you know, you make a difference in some of those people's lives. And that's really what this job can be about at times. And it makes the job worth going to every day.
Sure does.
Yep. So, on that note, guys, we're going to wind it down. It's going on almost 9 p.m. here, Eastern Time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, a lot of chit chat tonight. We did cover the Christmas overtime, so I hope that's helpful for some. Any questions, you know, definitely reach out and ask. Well, any one of us would be happy to answer them. I tend to, if I'm on the route, I'll try to get to them if I can, if I got a spot. But like I said, my route lately, I don't get a moment to breathe for myself half the time. But otherwise, I try to touch base with people when I get home. So if you don't hear from me right away, just wait until I get home. Or sometimes I'll say, hey, I'm out on the route. Let me finish and I'll get back to you. But other than
Or
that,
Or if you want to get a hold of Bill, send the message to James, who reminds me to check the messages because I hardly ever do. I'm a phone
And
call person, you know, folks. The phone rings, I answer it. If it's a text or anything else, I get to it when I can or when I want to.
yep, yep. So, James, your final words for this evening?
well, anybody can reach out to me on my Facebook. They can reach out to me on the page for my presidency run. They can reach out to me on Discord. I'm available most of the time. I'm literally, if I'm working or driving, I don't answer. But I will answer as soon as I get the time available too, whether I'm done working, sitting at home, or if I'm on a break at work, I will respond. But the biggest thing about this is Christmas is the busiest time of the year for us, even more so than elections, especially in swing states. And taking care of yourself is the most important thing you can do. Taking care to make sure that everything is done safely, properly, and protecting yourself. Management doesn't care about your safety. The customers, some of them do, but some of them don't. They just want their stuff. So it's up to you to take care of yourself first. Management's going to force you to do things that you shouldn't be doing. Make sure you stand up and show management we're all in this together. Bill?
Well, this is going to be strange for me this year. Not working Christmas, seeing my customers and everything, and God knows, I can be an asshole to some people or for situations that require it. But generally, I'm a very good person at heart, and all of you I consider to be family because of the fact that we have shared the same likes, dislikes, and our careers. And I just pray for all of you to be safe. See where this snow's coming in, and God, God bless you all. I know what you go through. I've been through it for 26 years, and I just want everybody to exercise safety and caution to do your jobs. I always say, do them professionally, do them efficiently, do them the right way, and get paid for what you're doing. But at this time of year, it's not the presents around the tree; it's the people around the tree that are the important part of the Christmas season. And I want you to every one of you to get home every day safely. You are the most important delivery of the day, and I don't want to ever read another article, and I will, but I don't want to, about a rural carrier losing their life or being severely injured while performing their job. It's a hazardous job. My job alone, on my route, I had 4 very dangerous spots, and I anticipated being hit. I prepared myself for it. But the fact of the matter is that you're more important to your family than that damn job. Okay? Remember that. So get home. Love your family. Tell them you love them. Kiss them goodnight. Be safe. Enjoy the season as much as you can. But be safe, please. Kristen?
All right, somebody wants to come in and say a few words, so I'm gonna let them do that real quick.
Well, I was going to say, first of all, despite what Bill says, there is crying at the post office. Like James said, this is our busiest time of year. You are, first and foremost also, even though it's cold out, you still need to hydrate. You are going to get overwhelmed. Don't. If you do, though, take a step back, take a deep breath, and step back in. And everyone, have a good week and holiday season. Kristen?
Thank you, Josh. It was nice of you to pop in for a sign off on our 100th episode. But yeah, guys, it's definitely Christmas season is upon us. Christmas overtime starts on December 7th. Everybody stay safe out there. Remember, if you get a direct order, try and get it in writing. That way, if it's definitely something that you can grieve, do it. Or fill out a safety form if necessary. That's what they're there for. Stay safe, everybody out there. Those that are affected with the snowfalls, stay safe, definitely. Do not go down roads that haven't been plowed. Please, none of that stuff is worth the risk. It really isn't. And again, thanks everybody. 100th episode. It's rather heartfelt. The kind words that the guys had to say at the beginning. Again, my appreciation to you and thank you so much. And as it stands, we'll be back for episode 101 next week. Take care, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll be back again next week.